And we are now live.
Okay. Good evening, members of the committee and members of the public. I will now call the Committee of Adjustment meeting to order. As this meeting is being held electronically.
We are now live.
Okay. Good evening, members of the committee and members of the public. I will now call the Committee of Adjustment meeting to order. As this meeting is being held electronically due to the COVID-19 pandemic, I will go over some rules of procedure for the benefit of members and the viewing public. This meeting is being streamed live via the City of Brantford YouTube account. All members of the committee will be muted upon entering the meeting and throughout when they are not speaking in order to reduce the background noise. All web cameras for committee members should be turned on throughout the meeting. If a member needs to leave their seat, please leave the camera on so that we recognize you are away. Staff will be requested to join the video meeting should the need to answer questions arise. Movers and seconders, a motion shall be indicated by raising your hand on camera and the chair will call out who the mover and seconder are. All members of the committee participating via online video conference will vote by a physical show of hands. A recorded vote will then be taken by the clerk. Applicants, agents, owners, and delegations are participating via Zoom or telephone accordingly. All persons wishing to speak to the items on the agenda were required to register by 9 a.m. Any delegations received in written format have been provided to members of the committee and will form part of the meeting record. In the event that a connection service interruption occurs that affects quorum, we may recess the meeting for up to 15 minutes to regain quorum. If quorum is not achieved, the meeting is adjourned. First item is roll call. Emma, can you take the attendance, please?
Absolutely. Tara Gaskin?
Present.
I don't believe Greg is here yet. Lee Reiner?
Present.
Okay. Michael Bodner? Oh, he is present. He's just having some issues with his technology at the moment. We have IT working on it. So Michael Bodner is present. Virginia Kershaw?
Present.
Okay. And Christina Brooks?
I'm present, but I don't see myself on the screen, so I'm not sure what's happening.
Okay, I do see you on my screen. So I'm not sure either.
Yeah, I can see you as well, Chris.
Oh, okay. As long as you can see me, that's fine.
Yeah, yeah.
But I'm here.
Perfect. And I do see now that Greg Kempa is also joining us.
Okay,
Perfect. Thank you.
perfect. Okay, so we're all good to go. Does any members of the committee, are there any declarations of pecuniary interest on any items on the agenda tonight? Please raise your hand if so. And seeing none, we'll move on. Okay, we're now going into the public hearings for public meetings, and I have to read this saying about it. This meeting is held in accordance with the provisions of the Planning Act. The purpose of the meeting is to discuss minor variance, consent, and severance applications, and to give members of the public the opportunity to ask questions, express concerns, or provide comment either in support or against the applications. Each hearing is generally dealt with in accordance to the order that they appear on the agenda. In the event that the hearing is not completed on this date, it will be adjourned to a later date, at which time the committee may hear further submissions. At the conclusion of each hearing, this committee will make a decision on each application. The names of the individuals who speak on any item tonight will appear within the meeting minutes. Anyone wishing further notice of any hearing, including a copy of the committee's decision, please contact the clerk's office. Minor variance decisions are final if there are no appeals 20 days after the committee's decision, and consent applications or consent decisions are final if there are no appeals 20 days after the notice of decision has been issued. The order of delegations will be as follows: applicant or agent, municipal staff, members of the public, and then applicant agent for clarification. Our first order of business is application B-17-2021 for 104 and 108 Catharine Avenue. I'll now call upon the agent to speak to the committee regarding the application. Mr. Cahoon, if you're available, if you can just state your name for the viewing public and proceed with your presentation. Mr. Cahoon, can you hear us? I think you may be muted.
Okay,
There you
now
go.
how's that?
That's perfect, Joe. If you can go ahead, please.
Too many buttons. I'm here helping out Bob, but I've updated myself on the application. The application is to reestablish 2 lots that inadvertently were merged through an estate process. There is no intention to create any new buildings or any other changes. The purpose is to create the 2 lots as they were prior to the merging. As shown in the, I think you have the reference plan in your report, divided up accordingly as the original lots were laid out. We've read the conditions for B17 2021. There's 5 conditions. We have no objection to accepting those conditions with the committee's approval. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Cahoon. Are there any members of the committee that have any questions for Mr. Cahoon? Seeing none. Thank you. We'll now have staff speak to the application. Who's Joshua? Are you speaking to this?
Good evening. Yes, I'll be speaking to this. So Emma, are you able to assist, or I'm not sure if Sean's able to assist by providing the PowerPoint for the presentation? Thank you
Yes, I
very
believe
much.
Sean is sharing now.
Awesome. Thank you very much. So good evening. Good evening, Chair and members of the committee. My name is Joshua Scram. I'm an intermediate planner with the Long Range Planning Department. So I'm here to speak to consent application B17 2021 regarding 104 and 108 Catharine Avenue. So in regards to this application, planning staff received a consent application for lands municipally addressed as 104 and 108 Catharine Ave. The subject lands are located on the southeast corner of Lynette Street and Catharine Avenue. The subject lands are designated general commercial and located within the intensification corridor in the city of Brantford's current official plan and zoned flood residential conversion zone in the zoning bylaw. Next slide, please. So in regards to the 2 photos, these photos show 104 Catharine Avenue on the left and 108 on the right. 2 single detached dwellings are identified on the subject lands, and the applicant is proposing to recreate 2 lots, as mentioned, that were previously in existence and have unintentionally merged on title. Next slide, please. With regards to the current official plan, the general commercial designation, although this designation does not permit single detached dwellings due to the residential conversion zoning on the property, it's deemed to conform with the official plan, and the single detached dwellings can continue to exist. The existing dwellings at 104 Catharine Avenue was constructed early 1980s, and the existing dwelling at 108 Catharine Avenue was constructed in the late 1940s. The identified lots are similar in area and frontage to other existing residential lots along Catharine Avenue and Lynette Street and are compatible with the neighborhood. There's also no change in the proposed land use or type of building structure as part of this consent application. And then just in conclusion, having regard for section 5124 of the Planning Act, the severance is desirable and compatible with the surrounding area and will not result in an adverse impact on the surrounding properties. And we would recommend that the application be approved. So thank you.
Okay, thank you, Joshua. Do any members of the committee have questions for the staff on this application? And I can't see anybody. No.
Sean, can you stop sharing the screen?
Yeah, I can't see.
It's okay. Yeah, there we go.
There we go. Okay. Any questions from members of the committee? Seeing none. Okay, we'll move on. Now we're on the public portion of the agenda. It's my understanding there are no members of the public have registered to speak to this application. Emma, if you can just verify that for us.
Yes, that's correct.
Okay, that's perfect. So seeing that, does applicant have any further clarification for our committee before we deliberate?
No, we're fine with the information and with the recommendations.
Okay,
Thank you.
perfect. Thank you, Mr. Cahoon. Okay, so now we're done that portion. Can I get a mover and a seconder to put this item on the floor? Lee?
Madam Chair, I move that application B17-2021 be approved as per the meeting minute.
Okay, and if I can get a seconder, please. Okay, Greg. Perfect. Okay, is there any discussion on the motion on the floor? Seeing none, I'll ask the clerk to take the recorded vote.
Okay, thank you. All those in favor, please raise your hand and leave it raised until you hear your name called. Tara Gaskin, Christina Brooks, Virginia Kershaw, Lee Reiner, Gregory Kempa. Thank you. And I am noting that Michael Bodner is still having some technical issues, so he is not voting at this moment.
Okay.
So that carried.
Okay, thank you, Emma. Okay, Mr. Cahoon, we're done. Your application was approved. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Okay, our next item, moving right along, is application A24-2021 for 119 Jennings Road. If I can call upon the agent and applicant to speak to this matter, I understand it's Mr. McDonald and Mr. Lucier are going to be speaking to this. If you can just, whoever's going to go first, if you can please state your name for the viewing public and go ahead.
Oh, hi, it's Paul Lucier from the GRCA. John McDonald, our consulting architect, will do the presentation.
Okay, thank you. Mr. McDonald?
Yes, John McDonald. I am the consultant for the project, working for the Grand River Conservation Authority. As the staff report has set out in the application, this project is to renew a maintenance building that was demolished in 2019 and is being placed in a very similar location on the conservation area site. Because of the nature of the zoning, the use, as I understand it from the staff report, is that the actual kind of use of the park and not of the buildings is considered the primary use, and therefore most, if not all, of the buildings on the site are considered accessory uses, and thus the zoning regulations associated with building height and setbacks that are associated with accessory buildings are said to apply to this site. As such, the replacement of the maintenance building and its height to accommodate the equipment that the GRCA uses, the trucks and various equipment that need to be stored within the building, exceed the 4.5 meter height limitation associated with accessory use buildings. And so we've made this application, and the building as proposed is slightly less than 7 meters in height from grade, and thus the application, and thanks very much to the work of City of Brantford staff for some clarifications through the process, has been applied for to be, not more than 7 meters in building height. I believe that is the only variance that is requested, and I believe the staff report is in favor of its approval. And we're just here to answer any questions that members of the committee may have and to provide further information. The drawings and elevations of the building are contained within the staff report. Don't know, Paul, if you'd like to add further.
No, thanks. That was great, John. Thank you.
Okay. Mr. McDonald, you're done then for now?
Yes, thanks kindly.
Okay, members of the committee, are there any questions for Mr. McDonald? Seeing none, we're good. I'll call upon our staff to review this application for us.
Good evening, Madam Chair, members of the committee. My name is Sean House. I'm in the Development Planning Department. We've received a minor variance application for 119 Jennings Road. The subject lands are located east of Jennings Road and south and west of the Grand River. The area applicable to this minor variance is outlined in yellow on this slide. The property is designated major open space in the official plan and zoned open space type 1 or OS1 in the zoning bylaw. As the applicant described, they're proposing to develop an accessory building for the maintenance of vehicles and general park maintenance. And to facilitate this development as proposed, they seek relief to permit a maximum building height of 7 meters, whereas 4.5 meters is normally required. And this next slide just illustrates what that accessory building will look like as a front and side view. And this is the area itself where the accessory building is proposed. So for a minor variance application to be approved, the Committee of Adjustment must have regard for the 4 tests of Section 45(1) of the Planning Act. So the variance must be minor in nature, desirable for the appropriate development and use of the land, as well as meet the general intent of the official plan and zoning bylaw. And it's the opinion of planning staff that the proposed additional height is minor in nature and appropriate for the development of the land. It's not expected to have an adverse impact on neighboring properties. And the intent of this maximum height, again, is to ensure that there's no impacts on sensitive land uses, especially in the OS1 zone. So as you can see by this photo, the site is surrounded by mature trees, and it's actually located within the interior of the park. So it won't be as visible from roads and as well as internal roads and park areas used by the public. So planning staff are of the opinion that the general intent of the zoning bylaw and official plan is maintained. As well, notice of this application was circulated to all property owners within 16 meters and no objections were received. So to conclude, I'd like to recommend that application A24-2021 be approved. Thank you, and I'm happy to answer any questions.
Thank you, Sean. Do the committee members have any questions for Sean at this time? Okay, seeing none. Now we're on the public portion of the agenda. Emma, can you confirm that no members have requested to speak, appear as a delegation?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay, awesome. And hearing that, does the applicant agent have any further questions, final questions on this application or comments? Sorry.
No, thank you.
No, thanks.
Okay, perfect. Okay, that's complete now. Can I get a mover and a seconder? Place the motion on the floor. Chris?
Yes, I move that application A24-2021 be approved as noted in the committee minutes.
Do I have a seconder? Okay. Ms. Gass?
Sorry, Virginia, which one seconded that? I saw a couple hands.
Tara, sorry.
That's okay, thank you.
That's who I saw first. Is there any discussion on the motion? Seeing none. Emma, if you can take the vote on the motion.
Absolutely. All those in favor, please raise your hand and leave it raised until you hear your name called. Tara Gaskin, Christina Brooks, Virginia Kershaw, Lee Reiner, Greg Kempa. Perfect. And I am noting that Michael Bodnar is still having tech issues. Thank you.
Thanks.
That carries.
I feel his pain.
I know. We do have IT working with him, so
Yeah.
we might have him.
No problem. Okay, we're on our last item. It's application B16-2021 for 39 Westmount Boulevard. I understand that the agent, John Hall, is here to address the committee. If you can please state your name for the viewing public and proceed with your presentation. You're muted, Mr. Hall.
There, I hope you're hearing me now.
Yes, you're good now. Thank you.
Thank you, Chair and members of the committee. The application is to sever about a 70-foot by 70-foot rear portion of the backyard of 39 Westmount and convey it to the adjacent property, 15 Riverview Drive. The reason for the application is simply to protect the, enlarge the lot at 15 Riverview in order to protect the view and the woodlands within the ravine that this property occupies. There is no new development proposed on either the land to be retained at 39 Westmount or the land where the conveyance will occur at 15 Riverview Drive. Your staff report is complete and we're in agreement with the recommendations and the commission, the conditions.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Hall. Are there any questions for Mr. Hall from the committee members? Seeing none. Now we'll have staff to speak to this application. I understand, Sean, you're going to be looking after this one as well. Go ahead.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Staff did receive this consent application at 39 Westmount Boulevard. The subject lands are located on the north side of Westmount Boulevard, east of Riverview Drive. A single detached dwelling currently exists on the property. And the rear yard is a forested ravine as shown on this slide. So the applicant is proposing a boundary adjustment to convey approximately 468 square meters of the rear yard of 39 Westmount Boulevard over to the neighboring rear yard at 15 Riverview Drive. So when evaluating a proposal such as this, a consent application, the committee must have regard for section 5124 of the Planning Act. So these criteria include if the plan conforms to the official plan, the dimensions and shapes of the proposed lots, the adequacy of utilities, municipal services. And the official plan also has criteria for consent applications, including if the severance is for the purpose of infilling, if no extension or improvement of municipal services are required, and if the lot will have frontage on a public road. So this proposal itself, it's going to create a parcel of land that will be added to the adjacent property. And a condition of the approval will be that these two properties are merged on title together. So we're not creating a lot without frontage on a municipal road. The application is not going to result in an undersized lot. The retained lands will still be approximately 943 square meters in area, which does meet the minimum lot requirement of the R1A zone, which is actually only 550 square meters. As the applicant had mentioned, no development is proposed through this application. Notice of this application was circulated to all property owners within 60 meters and no objections were received. And to conclude, I'd like to recommend that application B16 2021 be approved. Thank you, and I'm happy to answer any questions.
Okay, thank you, Sean. Do members of the committee have any questions for the staff? No, seeing none. Perfect. Well, we're the public portion of the agenda. Emma, can you please confirm again that we have no members of the public to speak to this application?
That's correct.
Perfect. Okay, seeing that, does the applicant agent have any last comments on this matter? I don't see him. I think he might have. Oh, there he is. Do you have any final comments? You're muted again.
Sorry about that. No, I have no comments.
Perfect. Okay, thank you. So now we're done that. We can move on to the debate. Can I get a mover and a seconder to put this matter item on the floor? Christina?
I move that application, sorry, I just lost my page here.
Yep.
I move that application B16 2021 be approved as recommended in the staff's report.
Okay, can I get a seconder? Greg, thank you. Any discussion on the recommendation before us? Seeing none, Emma, can you take the vote, please?
Sure. All those in favor, please raise your hand and leave it raised until you hear your name called. Christina Brooks, Tara Gaskin, Virginia Kershaw, Lee Reiner, Gregory Kempa. And noting that Michael is still having tech issues. Thank you. That carried.
Okay, so that's all of our applications before us. There's no delegations. The minutes from the previous meeting will be approved at the next meeting, along with these ones. There's no notices of motions, but we do have an update that planning staff want to give us. So I'll call upon Joe Moto to give us that.
Good evening, Madam Chair and members of the committee. Joe Muto, Manager of Development Planning. Thank you for this opportunity. Just a couple quick updates here from Development Planning Services. First of all, just want to highlight that as of June 14th, Sarah Haig, who's a new planner on my team, has joined us and will be working with the Committee of Adjustment in terms of providing staff reports and presentations. So just want to introduce Sarah here this evening and want to thank her for taking this position. She comes with a breadth of experience from the town of Thorold, township of South Dumfries or North Dumfries, as well as the regional municipality of Niagara. So we're happy to have her on board. Secondly, just a quick update on the city's new official plan. As you're all aware, council adopted the official plan back in March. It is currently with the Minister of Municipal Affairs and Housing, and we are anticipating an approval hopefully by the end of this month or early August of this year. So you might see something different come the fall with respect to updates in the staff reports and the new policies that will be forthcoming based on that approval. And then thirdly and lastly, the Development Planning Services team is going through a review in terms of service. That service review is being conducted through the CAO's office here at the city, and well underway with proposed changes coming forward in a report from the consultants sometime in September or October of this year. Some of those changes may or may not include some updates to how we process applications at all levels, Committee of Adjustment applications, subdivisions, rezonings, official plan amendments. So we're looking forward to those changes in terms of how we can better accommodate the public and the development community Some of those changes may also include moving forward with the Amanda system to better streamline and provide that commenting to the development community, and working with our other departments and colleagues at the city, as well as external agencies. So those are just some quick updates this summer, and hopefully I can come back in the fall with some additional updates. And if there's any questions of yourself, Madam Chair, or the committee, I'd be happy to answer them.
Okay, thank you, Joe. Welcome aboard. Look forward to working with you. I'm sure we'll see you. Meetings aren't usually this quick, but it's a good night tonight. Okay, I guess that's it. Any other updates from members of the committee, or Emma, do you have anything?
No, I don't have anything.
Okay, we're all good. Everybody's fine. When's our next meeting, Emma? I'd love to put you on the spot.
August. August something.
Okay.
It is August 4th.
Okay, perfect. Okay, I guess that's it. That concludes the business of the committee. So we're adjourned. Thank you, everyone.
Have a good night. Thank you.
Night.